you could give us a brief description of what happened.
On August 30th of this year, the Sheriff's Office received a complaint. It was a referral from the hospital for an injured child. The investigation led us to an incident that occurred at the Kitty City Daycare Center in Henrietta on August 29th. Investigation was started there into injuries to a 1-year-old child. That led us ultimately through the investigation to an arrest that was made on October 4th of Shannon Johnson for injuries suffered by the 1-year-old child. And we also made an arrest in the case of John Johnson, Shannon's husband, for incidents unrelated to the initial injury.
What sort of went into your investigation to come to an arrest?
I'm sorry.
How did the investigation?
So the investigation is still ongoing. It was a cooperative investigation with the Office of Child and Family Services and CPS. The complaint came in through CPS. We interviewed numerous children that were in the care of that child care center. Their parents were involved, and we executed a search warrant at that location as well.
Can you talk about how the child was injured?
I can't get into the specifics of how the child was injured, but the child was injured. Assault second is injury causing physical injury, in this case with a dangerous instrument. Dangerous instrument could be anything from a belt or the bottom of a crib or any other kind of instrument used to cause that injury to the child.
The press release does say belt.
Does it? Okay.
Can you talk about the allegation against this couple?
The allegation is that while in the care of the Kitty City Daycare Center, a 1-year-old child suffered bruising, swelling, injuries to her body at the hands of Shannon Johnson.
This is a female baby.
I
can't be sure. I believe it was a female, yes.
Can you say that this was based on discipline or neglect, or was the child sitting somewhere and fell, or
The child was not sitting and fell, but I don't have anything as to the motive as why she did it.
What hospital was she taken to?
Strong Memorial Hospital.
Have you had any contact with the family at this point of the child?
We're in contact with the family of not only the victim child, but other families that had their children at that daycare.
How many families at the daycare, roughly?
We've talked to more than 10.
Have you had any other concerns? Was this the first time you were called to this daycare?
This is the first time that we've had a complaint from that daycare, but there is an ongoing investigation that may lead to other victims.
How long was this daycare open, and how long was the child in the service?
I don't have the answers to that.
Can you talk about how unusual this is? Put this in perspective for us.
Unusual in that, these types of incidents happen at daycares, but it's not frequent. It's not a normal case for us. It's a case that is different than the ordinary. But these daycares are licensed and overseen by the Office of Child and Family Services, and a lot of allegations that come through that office. Anything that rises to the level of a crime, we end up getting, and I can tell you we do these very infrequently.
Was that daycare running up to code? Was it licensed?
Those are questions for the Office of Child and Family Services. I don't have.
Is this child under a guardian or parents? How were those individuals notified about this? Were they not aware of the abuse?
They actually discovered the abuse. They discovered the bruising on their child and took their child to the hospital, and that's how we were contacted.
Can we say the parents?
Yes, the parents.
A lot of parents will watch this or have been following this story and fear if their kids are in daycare. I don't know if you have anything you can offer parents. Is this something that in general you should worry about? Is there something you can do to protect your children? What would your advice be?
For the most part, the daycares in this community are very good. As I've said, we very infrequently deal with this kind of complaint. One thing is, be diligent in doing your study or your research of what daycare you're going to put your child in. Look to see that it's accredited and all those kind of things that were discussed. You can ask questions as to who oversees them and what those ratings are. But the other thing is just talking to your kids. Your kids will tell you what's going on during the day if you ask them. If you see something that doesn't look right, or if your child's not acting properly, well, there's more questions to be asked, and that might help bring to light something that's going on that shouldn't be going on.
Sounds like these parents did the right thing.
Absolutely.
Are the Johnson, are they husband and wife?
They are.
And have they been cooperating with the investigation?
They were cooperative with the investigation up to this point, yes.
What was their demeanor when they were arrested?
Did they appear shocked?
I can't speak to their demeanor. Everybody reacts differently.
You said he was arrested on unrelated?
He was arrested on charges stemming from an incident that occurred the day that we executed the search warrant and actions he took at that time, unrelated to the initial complaint.
What are those charges?
Endangering the welfare of a child.
But you said unrelated to this. I mean, can you expound on what that means? I apologize if you said it and I didn't.
No, that's okay. It's an incident that occurred the day that we were executing the search warrant. It involved a child that's not the initial victim, and you know, I can't speak in great length on the charge, but basically during the execution of the search warrant, he did what we believe put a child in danger.
Was the daycare center run out of their home? It looks like a residential house.
It is run out of their home.
Have you been interviewing other people that have their child under their care to see whether they have been experiencing any similar situations? You know, sometimes their child came home with maybe bruises that they thought maybe from a fall, but could have occurred in a different manner.
Yeah, as I said, we've interviewed more than 10 of the families, and I believe it's 16, but more than 10 of the families, and we are continuing the investigation, and there's a potential for further charges.
How serious are these charges?
They're D felonies.
So what could she be facing? What could be the consequence?
I can't tell you that. That comes from the court. I don't know.
She's out on bail. Is she still operating the daycare?
No, again, the Office of Family or Child and Family Services can answer that question better, but I can tell you that daycare is no longer open and they're no longer watching children.
So what's next in your investigation?
We're going to continue to work with the families that we've identified and see if anything that has happened rises to the level of a crime. And if it has, we'll continue to bring charges.
What are you asking the public to do, if anything?
Really, if you had a child that was being cared for at the Kitty City Daycare Center, or if there's a child that was watched by Shannon Johnson, and you feel you have some concerns, we would take that phone call.
Were there any cameras inside the daycare? How were you able to get proof
How are we able to prove?
that she was the one who injured the child? Were there
Oh,
cameras inside the daycare?
There's no cameras inside the daycare center. We're able to prove it through our interviews and through the investigative means to corroborate what was told to us in those interviews.
Did she admit to it?
She did not give us a statement.
Do you know when it was closed, the daycare? When it was shut down? That day that...
Yeah, whatever the day, no, the day that we did the search warrant, which was in September. I can't recall the date. Oh, no, actually it was, I'm sorry. They weren't allowed to see children after we became involved, which was August 30th.
Did the parents take the baby directly to the hospital, or did they see their local pediatrician first, you know?
I don't know the answer to that.
Now, you said they weren't able to take children after August 30th, meaning they weren't able to operate, or they weren't able to take new...
No, they weren't able to operate.